I'm sitting here in silence right now. I was waiting to do something on my iPad. I'm sitting at Safe Light right now. I'm about to change my windshields. I don't get to talking when I'm talking to some people. Kind of talking to myself right now, so I'll give it a couple minutes. I'm sitting here. I don't know if you guys saw what I had up earlier. I put this guy. I'm on my iPad right here. Yeah, you really can't see that. It's not. Yeah, you can't see that. But this guy drove under a 12.6 bridge, pulling a reefer. The guy tells the cop, he thought, I'm putting these windows up, that he thought that his truck and trailer were 12.5. I don't know where he got that from. A lot of them is written on the side 13.6. I get scared when I see 13.6, unless I'm over in like the Northeast and I have an open deck trailer. So I don't know, people are crazy. Like I was saying before, I'm sitting at Safe Light right now. I'm in Atlanta. We're in Atlanta. This is technically Conyers, Georgia. Same difference to me though. Atlanta, Conyers, Atlanta. But I gotta get my windshields replaced. We're about to get both of them changed. So I made my decision. I took the drug test this morning for Landstar, and after I get these windshields replaced, I'm going to be going to do the truck inspection. So I've made my decision. I will be probably 99% sure leaving Mercer, and that's a well thought out decision that I've been thinking about probably like the last 2 weeks. And honestly, I think it's really the best decision, because I've looked at their load board, mirroring my moves, what I've been doing with Mercer, and these loads have been averaging like $1.60, $1.70, cents a mile, and what I see over there is completely different. And before someone says it, I know I'm gonna read it again in the comments like the last time, or have people in my inbox trying to tell me, well, no, you need to stay at Mercer, all this stuff. It's, they say that Landstar's load board doesn't include their percentage out, which is correct. But when you have a load that's moving 500 miles, paying $2,500, my phone's about to die. Shoot, I don't think that part really matters. Even after they take their cut, that's still way more than what I'm getting for that. I booked a load going up to Jersey out of here tomorrow, 30,000 pounds. Moving, I think it's like 900 miles, paying $1,700. That load should be paying, in my opinion, like $2,000 at the minimum, but it's not. And some of these places, they get frustrated with you, because the way Mercer works is you have a coordinator. They tell you that they're not. It's not like working somewhere else where you have a dispatcher. They call them coordinators, and they're supposed to help you find loads. You have the same access to the same loads and the same board, so they have no special tricks or tools. So I guess that's a good part. They can't really bullshit you. So past that part, that's the only good part. But like I was telling you before, the coordinator that I have is really a waste of time, and I really hate when she calls me. And I tried to switch to Antonio's coordinator, who's watching right now. And she seems like that she would be a lot better, but that's not going to change the rates for me personally. And I want better rates. Granted, it's January, and I've been talking to a lot of people. I've met a lot of guys recently, ironically, in the last few weeks, that switched from Mercer to Landstar, and they're making a whole lot more money. And granted, the expenses, the numbers are not equivocable. Whereas you got Mercer, they pay for the fuel tax, and traditionally a company will pay the fuel tax, but they'll charge you back. Mercer doesn't do that. They just absorb those costs. So that's a good thing. But to me, a load revenue of $1.70 versus all your loads paying $2.30 and $2.40 a mile to your pocket after their cut, that's not going to make a difference to me. I mean, you're talking not that much money. So excuse me. So I'm gonna make the switch, but they wouldn't freaking I talked to the inspection people, because they have multiple locations across the country, but if you have any cracks in your windshield or any like marks or dings, it's a fail. So I had a rock hit my windshield last week. I've been trying to get it fixed prior to like knowing that knowledge, but for all you guys that are truck drivers and you know the struggle of Safe Flight, that's usually like that's the most people's insurance goes through is Safe Flight, and they only open Monday through Friday like 8 to 5, so that's a struggle for us. So I'm sitting here, I dropped my load off this morning. I made a decision the other day. I was like, I'm not going to book another load for Thursday. I'm just going to take Thursday off so I can get my drug test done this morning, get this done. I'm going to get it back tomorrow. But that's my decision. That's where I'm at right now. We're going to be leaving Mercer and going to Landstar. Hopefully that works out like it's been working out. I got a real close friend that works over there. He's got an RGN though, so you know I can't really compare his success to what I would be doing, because I'm going to pull a step deck. So he bought his RGN, so that's, you know, two different worlds. But he was pulling a step deck before, and you know I don't have any doubt in my mind that it's going to be good. So with that being said, I'm really looking forward to that. Their orientation is 2 days long, so they do things a little bit different than most people. I've done almost everything through paper already, through email, even right down to them getting your tags and stuff. So like I've had to like send them all those documents so they can go ahead and get that stuff done, because orientation for them is 2 days. And from what I understand, the first day is the only real day of orientation. Day 2 is policing up what you haven't did the first day. So if you're a slowbie or you got stuff that didn't get in, but I don't think they bring you to orientation if they don't have all your documents squared away. So whew, I'm not really worried about it, but I'm hoping that it pans out. And I've been, you know, I told myself that I was going to wait a little bit, because of course it's January, and anytime you switch jobs, you know, you'll be at a loss of revenue for probably a couple weeks, and I'm not really been making that much money here, like at all. I mean, it's been decent. It's not been what I expected, you know. And you know, a lot of these loads, like, you know, they get frustrated with me because they call me and I start ripping apart these loads, and I'm like, no, I don't want that. You know, like a few of my friends I've talked to you about this particular situation, they wanted me. Now I had my coordinator, another coordinator, and then some guy in truck ops called me about this load there, because I was the only one in the area and they wanted it moved and they weren't paying any more money, and I wasn't gonna haul it. It just wasn't gonna happen. And it was that pissed a lot of people off, I'm sure. It was 1,900 miles, and I'm sorry, I apologize. It's $1,900, like 1936 or something like that on the revenue. Now that load was going, I had to deadhead 240 miles to go get it, and it was going 900 loaded miles from Missouri, final out in the eastern part of North Carolina in Wilmington, and it had 2 stops on it. 2 stops, not a big deal, they were both in Wilmington. But the thing that got the load, you know, so horrible, you know, if that was been a, you know, a regular load, it would have been fine, but it was an oversized load. That was the problem. It's 12 foot wide. Anyone that pulls oversized loads already knows when you say 12 foot wide, you're talking about detour after detour after detour. So that 900, you know, practical miles easily goes to, like, you know, 1,000, maybe 1,100. Like, you don't know how bad it's going to be until you actually see the per minute route. And you still really don't know how many miles it is unless you really sit down and calculate each route and all the distances, which I don't know. If you pull oversized and you do that, man, I'm going to send you my stuff so you can do it for me. But I'll usually just wing it. But I mean, you kind of know, you know, kind of how much distance it is by looking at it, but you never really know. Like, I mean, I guess you could if you said add up all, yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't sit and do that. I just take it and go. But and do the best I can, because even, you know, you calculating that, you say I got, you know, this load's going 900 miles, you say I can do that in 2 days. Well, if you're pulling a 12 foot wide load, you might not do that in 2 days. It might take 3. And it was already picking up on a Wednesday, and they wanted it there on a Friday, but I had to deadhead 4 hours to go get it. So you figure by the time I got empty, say at 10 or 11 o'clock, you know, I got to go deadhead 4 hours. You know, we're talking about 1 or 2 o'clock. you get loaded, it's 3 or 4 o'clock, and it's an oversized load, it ain't moving past 5:30, you know. And depending on where you are, you might not be moving then. Because I don't remember the city it was picking up in, but if it was a city like, some cities have curfews where you can't operate between like their rush hour times, so it might start at 3:30 to like 5:30 or 4:30 to 5:30, something like that. But it's city dependent. So that cuts time out. You really want to look at running maybe 500 miles a day, and that's a perfect situation with an oversized load. And granted, if you're out west, maybe if you're a little not as wide somewhere, it might not be that big of a deal. You might be able to hit 6, but 12 foot wide running across the east like that, their restrictions are way stricter than like running, say states like Wyoming, out that way. Out that way, there's not that many regulations because no one really out there to hassle. But coming back east, the lanes are narrower. The bridges aren't as wide. Some of them aren't as tall. So you have all that to deal with. I looked at the load like, I'd go pick this load up, and it's going to take me every bit of 3 days. So we're talking Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And hopefully I get that off then. And in 3 days, I've made $1,900. I can haul short loads and make more than that in 3 days. So why would I want to waste my time pulling an oversized load that's going to stress me out, irritate me, and all kinds of other stuff? So I declined the load. I was like, if you want to pay $3 grand for the freight to get moved, we can talk about it. But if it's not paying that, I ain't taking it. And I did not take it. So, whew. Anyway, I'm just, that situation in and of itself really just like aggravated the hell out of me. Because it's like, why? If I say I don't want a load, I don't want 100 calls trying to convince me to get the load if you're not going to change the circumstances. It's like the definition of insanity, doing the same thing and expecting the same result. I ain't going to take it. It ain't going to happen today. It ain't going to happen tomorrow. And when I go to Landstar, it sure ain't going to happen. So, what I'm looking forward to is no one calling my phone. I'm not used to all this. Like, I'm literally telling you, this woman calls me 15 to 20 times a day, which is okay. I mean, if there's loads or whatever, because sometimes I don't, get to see the load board, but usually 9 times out of 10, the loads that she's like telling me about, I've seen them already, and I don't want them. So I've even started going to like hitting the refuse button. We have like a little refuse button on there. I'm refusing it, hoping that would deter her from calling me, but she doesn't even see it. She'll call me, start reading it. She's like, "Oh, you already saw this, didn't you?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So I don't know. And she calls me for loads. I'm like literally going like 200 or 300 miles, paying a few $100s for a day of work. I'm like, I'm not gonna make $500 in a day. That's not gonna happen. We can compromise around like $850, but it's not gonna be that low. That's not gonna happen. I'd sit first. I would sit first before I just drive my truck to pay for fuel. And that's all I'm gonna do. I want to make $50, and it's not gonna happen. But I'm looking forward to it. Over there, there's a little bit, well, I'm not going to say more opportunity. I think their RGN division is a little bit bigger. It's kind of what I want to get into next. I haven't seen a whole lot, which granted, we have an oversized department, so maybe they have, those loads and they're ordering those loads and not putting them on the board. But the oversized loads that we have on our, not the oversized, excuse me, the RGN loads that we have on our board, because not all RGN loads are oversized, so let's. Oh, okay, cool, it's still on. It's my dad calling. I'll call him back in a minute. But not what I was saying is not all oversized loads are RGN loads, so it's not really the same thing. But they have a whole lot more loads. And if you're interested, if you're a contractor, owner, operator, you got your own truck, you can go wherever you want. I highly suggest you go to, it's like Landstar online. And I know some people on here are skeptical of bigger companies. They don't want to go to the bigger guys, and that's okay. But I highly suggest go to Landstar online and do it's a webinar. And what they do is they bring you in. It's like a conference call, so you have your phone's on, and you also have like a device, so a tablet or a computer, whatever you have in your possession. So, and they go through the board with you. Like, they show you their load board, they show you everything about their load board, and then they start dissecting, and then they open the form up and say, okay. And it was only about 5 or 6 of us, so it wasn't bad. And they were like, where do you want to see loads from? So I looked at loads coming out of Florida, particularly the Jacksonville area, because Jamar ain't going to back home Miami unless like It's paying really good. And the only way I'm going to Miami is literally if they pay me enough to deadhead from Miami back to Jayville, or maybe up into Savannah, Georgia. That's the only way I'm going to Miami. It ain't going to happen otherwise, because you're going to get down there and get your feelings hurt, and ain't going to be no freight. For those of you that don't go down there flatbed, I can't speak for reefer, and I cannot speak for dry van as far as how the rates are down there. But the rates for us are, we usually get $2 a mile. Even when I was at Prime, we got $2 a mile into Miami. But the rates coming out always sucked. So it's the only way I'm going to Florida is that price. So I looked at Jacksonville, Florida. I looked at loads, and these are all 300-mile radius, so they kind of overlapped a little bit. I looked at loads coming out of Atlanta, Georgia. Looked at loads coming out of Northern Virginia, East and West Pennsylvania, Ohio, and then over in Texas. Phenomenal rates. Absolutely phenomenal. I would say an average, and then this is a gross amount, like some of you guys that do know about the Landstar load board, that their rates that are up there is before any splits. So that's the complete gross amount. So that's something to think about. But those rates were so much higher. There's like almost nothing under $3 a mile. And that sounds great, but you have to take into account, it was what I just said, except that's before the split. So after the split, you're looking at like maybe 250, 240, depending on where exactly it fell on the totem pole. But to me, that's way better than what I'm getting right now. Most of them are light. For you guys that are on Facebook with me, you know that I sat in Houston, I want to say, was that last week? I sat in Houston for like 2 days. Well, that's unfair to say. I sat in Houston for like a day and a half. All right, felt like 2 days, but it was a day and a half. The first day I was, adamantly looking for a load, and didn't find anything. Did not happen. Called on a few of them, and it just did not happen. But so that the first day went a wash, and the second day it's like noontime. I just got irritated, and I was like, whatever, I'm not going to do this. I'm just going to go deadhead back to Alabama or somewhere, and I'll go find some steel. But ended up getting a load when I was at the fuel pump. I found one on the load board. I think it's Safe Flight. Hi.
Hello. Just got to get some information.
Okay. So I ended up doing that in Houston, and so I grabbed that load and left. But I talked to my buddy at Landstar that day, and he literally showed me their board. He screenshotted me a couple pictures of 2 of the pages. There were an abundance of loads leaving from that area going to other places. And some of you guys that are, like I said, owner-operators, you do look at, because Mercer is an approved carrier for Landstar, so we get to, pull off other people's load boards. But I've looked several times and I couldn't find anything good on ours, but they had nothing that was like wanting me to do that. Like after Mercer took their cut and I got mine, it just wasn't worth it. But they had the same load up there that he showed me that was going, that it was like 900 miles for like $3,000. And then they had the load on the approved carrier board. I called on it, and the rate was nowhere near that. So, and he did tell me that they cut those rates for the approved carriers like drastically, like they're brokered rates. But obviously, I'm not supposed to be seeing the Landstar load board. It says internal contractor load board, just like we're not supposed to show ours. 606,134.
And we'll be out shortly.
Okay, thank you. But so you're not supposed to show people the load board because they say it's proprietary or whatever, and they don't want people seeing it or seeing the rates. I personally don't care, but I've been kind of, being respectful about that. So, what's up, Lewis? And you see Austin Scrub Self's in here. Stedman, Chris. Who else is in here? Stan, Drew. Yeah. And Miss Applebee's. I passed her the other day, rolling north on 24. But I'm sitting over in Conyers, Georgia right now. For you guys that didn't hear me at the beginning of this, at Safe Flight, about to get these windshields replaced so I can go get my Landstar inspection, truck inspection. So hopefully we did I did my drug test this morning. So hopefully we can get probably approved like Monday, Tuesday, and I'm getting out of here. But yeah, I'm getting my windshields replaced, both of them. But the great thing is that I don't have to pay for them. Like, I mean, technically I don't have to pay for them. I'm paying insurance. But it's a $0 deductible, and Landstar does the same thing, so which is great. And there's no limit on how many you can get. And Landstar is going to fill the truck if there's any cracks in the windshield. They already told me that, so I have to get that done. I'm going to go ahead and do it now. And then this evening we're going to do our inspection. And if anybody's coming through Atlanta, let me know. I'll be in Atlanta until tomorrow, so I'm going back after I do my truck inspection today. I'm going to go back to Petro. I've been down here a lot. So one of my friends told me I should move down here. I don't even know how people get around down here. Like, I got my trailer. It's sitting out there. I left it in the turn lane. I don't know if y'all can see that. I can't really tell if that's. Well, I can turn this thing around actually. Let's do that. Yeah. It's just sitting in the road. It's on like a little service road out here. That's what the people told me to do with it. That they don't have anywhere else to put them. So I dropped it in the road. Whatever. Not my problem. Not my problem. That's their problem. Not so much. I need to. I work out more shifting these gears. I need to. I bought some running shoes actually. I need to start doing that. That's been my goal, but I gotta sort this money situation out and get, like, settled a little bit better. Because I spent a lot of money in maintenance recently too. So I had all those issues, but knock on wood, it's been running good. I need to shut up about that. I really do. But it's about time for a service. I need to do a PM. Hope probably do some oil samples and send that off, see how the engine's doing. I did get an overhead adjustment done, and they actually looked at everything in there on the top end, and they said it looked good. So hopefully that's a good sign. It runs good. These loads that I've been taking, I've been driving no less than 70 like everywhere, which is not what I personally want to do, but that's just the way it's been crumbling. I had to run yesterday 720 miles. So I left Missouri yesterday and made it down to Atlanta last night. So it was legal, I promise. It was legal. And that stupid JJ Keller box is not working. Where's my we're doing these right now. It's probably gonna be doing these until I leave because I'm not gonna get it fixed. More than likely, I'm not getting that crap fixed. They told me to take it to a shop, and I'm like, well, who's gonna pay for that? Because the box won't come on. I don't know. It's plugged in, but it won't come on. So, what else? My dad's doesn't work either because he's here at Mercer. It doesn't work. His ain't been working for months though, and they said it's an Android glitch, and they don't know what to tell him until JJ Keller is the company that makes that little box that runs that log off the phone. Until they fix it, ain't nothing they can do. So, whatever. Load securement videos. Let's talk about that. They're gonna start rolling back out hopefully soon, man. Like, I tried to do one yesterday and the guy flipped out on me. Some of these places we go to, like, they don't want you recording anything like that. I wanted to record me chaining down the aircraft engine, which isn't a process. It's really simple, but I just wanted to do that, and the tarp job of it, because that thing was like 10 foot tall, and but they wouldn't let me record because I was in an aircraft hangar on the airport, and they said no. I tried. I had camera set up. I got out of the truck. They're like, oh no, what is that? Get rid of that. Back in the truck. So some of the places have been like that. I've been hauling a lot of military freight, and they're definitely like that. They don't want us recording anything. So you got to be respectful, I guess, of the customer's wishes. But I haven't been hauling a lot of general commodities. I got to go get a concrete precast tomorrow is what they're calling it. I don't really know what that is. I'm assuming that's like a big slab of concrete. There's some flatbed guys in here. Y'all know what that is? I ain't never hauled no concrete precast. But yeah. The people were like wanding me and stuff, Lewis. That was crazy. They got in my truck and they're like, we need to search in here. Open all your cabinets. It's like, man, yeah, I'm worse than the military. And it's weird because like the military is not even that bad. I've yet to be like really searched at all. Like they just say open your glove compartment, they stay on the step and look in here, and that's it. So I don't even know. I mean, some of the bases are a little bit different, but I've been to quite a few of them, and they've not really cared. Like they were more thorough when I was active duty. I was at Fort Hood, and then I did some time at Benton, but they were more thorough at those places. They did random inspections where they tear your car up. Maybe that, I don't know. Maybe that's just a soldier thing, and they don't care about us, and they just, I don't know. You'd think that would be where the threat would come from, but whatever. Trump needs to fix that. Shots fired. I'm gonna leave this live feed right now before people start cussing me out for saying that. But let's make security great again. You guys have a good day and a good rest of your week. If I don't talk to you guys again, because it's already what, Thursday, so yeah, the week's almost out. If you haven't seen my YouTube, check that out, Jay the Flatbedder. I got a lot of other videos on there. I need to start like posting some of them up in here so you guys can see them. Some of the people that haven't seen them, because I got a bunch of those. But anyway, you guys have a good day. Happy loading. Get those loads delivered and stop sleeping at truck stops.